Hi everyone, welcome to Criminally. It's Friday again, which is fantastic news as ever. Where did that week go? It's certainly gone very quickly for me. Anyway, I hope you've all had a good week, and I'm back with another Top 5 Friday, and today the subject is my top 5 87th Precinct novels. Now, the 87th Precinct is something I haven't talked about on the channel yet, but it's my all-time favourite series of novels. There's 55 of them in total. Started in the 50s, finished in the early 2000s, and if you've not read them, they're absolutely fantastic. Written by a writer called Ed McBain, real name Evan Hunter, albeit Evan Hunter wasn't actually his birth name either. He was born Salvatore Lombino, and he was a really top-notch crime writer, writing in the second half of the 20th century, and pretty much single-handedly created the police procedural genre with the 87th Precinct series of mysteries. And I've very recently finished a complete read-through in order of the series. I've read many of them over the years, but wanted to do that kind of full read-through. And now that I've finished, I was kind of reflecting back on what my favourite entries in the series were, and thought I'd share them with you here. So, without further ado, and in no particular order, here they are. So the first one, King's Ransom, is a really excellent story about a kidnapping. There's tons of stuff in here, both about the kind of process for the police of the investigation to find the kidnappers, and the kidnapping is of the young son of the chauffeur of a wealthy businessman. So there's loads of stuff around kind of class and money in the kind of class system in America in the story as well. Very famously filmed by Akira Kurosawa as High and Low, and it's a really excellent crime novel, definitely worth reading. Second one is He Who Hesitates. So this is slightly different from the other 87th Precinct novels, and that's one of the reasons why I chose it. Most of the books focus very much on the detectives in the precinct. This one focuses more on a character outside. So this is someone who's committed a murder and is trying to decide whether or not to give themselves up. Really tense, really cleverly written, and gives a really interesting perspective on the characters that you've kind of grown to know and love through the other books by this point in the series. So having that kind of third person view of the main characters in the book works really well. Next one is Sadie When She Died. So this is one of the more thoughtful, kind of philosophical, in my opinion, books in the series. Really interesting investigation into the murder of a woman, with Steve Carella, who's one of the main detectives, interviewing various people who've known her through her life and trying to figure out why she died. It's quite poignant, very moving, and just a really subtle, clever mystery. Book number 4 is Vespers, one of the later entries in the series. So this is a book that does one of the things that McBain does very well, which is juggle multiple plots. So in this case, the main plot is around the murder of a priest. There's also a subplot about a satanic cult operating near the church where the priest was murdered, and also some kind of gang violence that's been going on. And what this book does really brilliantly is you understand more and more about the mystery as it's investigated, and each kind of person that gets interviewed throws a different light on things, and you start reflecting back on what's happened, and your understanding of it changes over time. It's very, very well done, and similar to the film Ransom by Akira Kurosawa, who, as I said before, directed an Ed McBain adaptation. So yeah, for me, this one is one of the high points of the series. I know not everybody likes it. And finally, Fat Ollie's book. So Fat Ollie is a character who becomes more and more important later on in the series. He starts out as a very incidental character, and his role kind of gradually grows over time. So he's a cop in one of the other precincts. He's completely obnoxious. He's kind of racist, bigoted, sexist, thoroughly unpleasant, but also a really, really good detective. And he's an extremely funny character as well. And it's the humour in this book that I really enjoyed. So in this one, Ollie has written a novel of his own, which is written in the style of a police report. he accidentally loses it, or it gets stolen from his car, and the person who steals it believes it is a real police report, and tries to kind of unravel the mystery that's involved in the story. McBain does humour brilliantly. There's humour in pretty much all of the books, but this is for me is the one where he kind of really does it best. It's extremely funny as well as being a very entertaining mystery. Hope you enjoyed that. If you haven't read Ed McBain or the 87th Precinct novels and you're a crime fan, you definitely need to check them out. Unfortunately, they're largely not out of print exactly, but they're only available through Amazon nowadays. So most of them are available on Kindle or through or as paperbacks through Amazon. There are a few random gaps in the series because of copyright issues and things like that. But you can pick them up on eBay secondhand, which is what I've tended to do. So if you like the video, please hit the like button. Please subscribe if you're not a subscriber already, and look forward to seeing you again in a future video. Cheerio. And here is a little bonus. It's just a bit more of a close-up of all of these lovely covers. So this one's got the 87th Precinct shield on it. This is an early pan edition of He Who Hesitates. This is a classic McBain gold band, as they tend to be known, edition of Sadie when she died. This is Vespers, so I think this is the paperback first edition of that book. And here we got the trade paperback, slightly too big to fit in frame, the trade paperback of Ollie's book.